What's going on, guys? Meteorologist Jonathan Kagas back with you early. We talked about this yesterday. If you were hanging out with us on News 6 across all platforms, that we'd have an earlier start time to the thunderstorms. And there we go. And we have a few rowdy ones out there. So I'm going to get right to it. You see where we have the yellow polygons. That is a severe thunderstorm warning, and it is rocking out there for us in Brevard County, also hanging around northwestern Osceola County. Let me just do some high level just get in here real quick. I want to give you guys a heads up, and then we're going to get into some of the meteorology behind this. There's a really nasty wind gust coming right on down I-95 in Rockledge right now. Early heads up in Viera. This one is coming to us quickly. A lot of heavy rain, looking to keep making sure that we have a hook there. Just want to make sure that doesn't go tornadic. With the East Coast sea breeze involved, you're always looking for something like that, especially when it's right up against the coast. We have a live look, courtesy of our friends at WeatherStem of Port Canaveral, and that is the thunderstorm that is basically running right on down Merritt Island into Cape Canaveral. That Skycam look is about right here where we're looking at that. So kind of on the eastern periphery. The strongest part of this storm is hanging around Cocoa and Canaveral Acres. So some very heavy rain from King Street back to Bear Trail, Adamson Road, Rector Road, Rayburn Road. Really gusty winds. This severe thunderstorm warning is going to roll until 2:45 in the afternoon. So that's something that we're going to be watching closely for the next, probably even beyond that. But nonetheless, that's something we're going to be tracking going forward. Post in the comments what you're seeing if you're watching these areas, if you're living in these areas. Daytona Beach, again, showing off that we have those. You can see the thunderstorm clouds in the distance. That camera is putting in that camera is pointed south. So that's the storm, that big storm again. Second night in a row that our Daytona Beach Skycam has kind of caught on to those thunderstorms. The Unknown Lion fan says, do we get any rain in Spring Hill area soon? I know storms are near it, but I don't know if any more storms will form in a few hours. I do not think so. I think everything is going to fire up just to your east there, the storms that you are hearing in Spring Hill. Everything for you, though, is going to be pushing to the east. So I don't think you see anything for the rest of the evening. Everything is going to push back that direction and then kind of stay towards the I-4 corridor. So two really big cells, and I would not be surprised if soon, over the next couple of hours, we really watch these thunderstorms flare up even more. And we'll get into some of the future forecasting and stuff, but I just wanted to hop on here and let our friends know what's coming. And if you were looking for some information, because I am sure that it looks and it feels gnarly out there, especially around Cocoa. Let me turn the lightning tracker on. Just with this cell alone over the last 15 minutes, it's kind of riding right on down I-95. So again, this is going to be an early heads up. I want you to get off the beach in Cocoa Beach, Rockledge. We are getting on the leading edge of the heaviest rain right now. As that works its way down, there is an outflow boundary, a very healthy outflow boundary, that green line, as the East Coast sea breeze, another forcing mechanism, slides in. We're likely going to see more thunderstorms develop here, and kind of already happening right there with that outflow boundary. So that rain-cooled air from that big thunderstorm in Brevard already kind of lighting these thunderstorms, creating more thunderstorms, and we are expecting a fairly active afternoon. Again, we were talking about this yesterday, if you were watching the news or the 9:30 show yesterday, that we would get an earlier start time for these thunderstorms, and here they are across the board. So right around Kissimmee, the western side of Lake Toho, early heads up. If you're on the lake, maybe catching this stream, maybe got the push alert from YouTube that we were live, start hightailing it in, because this cell is going to be honest. Not only does it have the potential for 60-mile-per-hour wind gust, a storm does not have to be severe to be deadly with the lightning, and there was a lot of lightning with that cell as well. So primarily watching two ugly cells. Both of them have severe thunderstorm warnings. The one that you see in Osceola in extreme southern Orange County. So on the 417, kind of a rough go of things right now. With these cells kind of running parallel to the Osceola Orange County line. This is in effect for another 10-ish minutes. Let me just look to see the wind, and there's the strong winds. So Simpson Road, Boggy Creek Road. Let's do some sampling here. Radar estimating anywhere from 40 to 50 miles an hour wind gusts. So this is certainly strong. And again, those are just estimates. We have a lot of drier air in the mid levels of our atmosphere today. So when we bubble up these big thunderstorms and then they start to collapse, all that junk falls out and it rushes to the ground. So again, primary threat today, maybe some big hail early on in the storm's life, and then it's quickly going to transition to an isolated damaging wind gust threat. But already two severe thunderstorm warnings on the day. So that is the one, southern Orange, northern Osceola, just on the east side of Kissimmee, the strongest of it anyway. And then this real nasty thing over Brevard County. And again, we're watching that closely. I'm going to pull up the traffic monitor here because I can access the traffic camera. So give me a second while that loads. And we're going to load up a bunch of cameras and turn on the radar. And it'll take a second. There's a lot of data coming in. So there it is. That should come to real time any second. There it is. So there's the very heavy rain. I don't know if that's, might have been some hailstones in there. So that's I-95 and Florida 524. We'll take you further down I-95. This is going to be in Rockledge now. This is at mile marker 198 if you're in the area and familiar with this. Again, this is going to be closer to some of the Rockledge exits. It looks like that live, that feed is not going to be live. It's obviously not nighttime out. I'm just going to click on a couple of these and see what will load here from, these are FDOT cameras, Florida 511. There's the very heavy, I mean, look how slow the traffic is moving. So if you're out in this area, please be very careful. Again, these wind gusts, 50 to 60 miles an hour, and the rain is super heavy. as you can clearly see. You don't need me to see that. You see the heavy rain now over Port Canaveral? And you can see all the lightning within this traffic camera as well. So again, this storm does mean business. There is a severe thunderstorm warning on this for the next 25 minutes as it works its way down um, I-95. And you can see there the traffic sensor picking up on that slowdown, the yellow there representing where the traffic is slowing. We saw that ourselves, though, with the camera. Let's get on the 528. The 528 is also getting some very heavy rainfall, very heavy rain. Not a lot of cars in that shot on the 528, but you can see the rain kind of ponding on the road there on 520 on the 528 on the beach line. And then we can also take a closer look. You see on the Florida Turnpike, the yellow there, clearly, clearly impacting traffic and even some red. So again, just be careful. Simpson Road, Lakeside Drive, Florida Turnpike going through Kissimmee is very slow moving. You might imagine why when we have a severe thunderstorm in play. Again, for Osceola County, this is going to go for the next 5 minutes or so. Also, I mean, this is just your routine traffic on I-4 near the attractions, but that is going to even get some heavy rain. If you're hanging around the attractions today, again, maybe seeing this live stream pop up on your phone, you're going to get wet very soon. We're driving here somewhere. There's Western Way. So again, this is pretty much over Disney property or very, very close to almost all of Disney. Certainly SeaWorld getting it, Universal, all of that in the way as these storms start to push on through. So I wanted to give you the look on the traffic side of things because it is impacting traffic significantly on I-95 and then also on the Florida Turnpike through Osceola County where we do have those severe warned storms. I'm going to go back to our main radar page to get our fancy high-tech weather tools to track this thing a little further. We also have now a new special weather statement. It's when a storm starts to beef up a little bit. It hasn't quite grown up into a severe thunderstorm yet, but it's likely going to change and it's likely going to do so. So there is kind of the motion slowly pushing through the south side of Winter Garden, um, Horizon West, Oakland. We're having some thunder. Dr. Phillips, we're dry now, but you're likely hearing the thunder and seeing the darker clouds move from west to east. There we go with a new cell that has popped up in Sumter County, closer to Mabel and Linden. Let me put a loop on this for you. That is not where we have this severe thunderstorm warning. That's on the other cell. It's still picking that up. But this is slowly pushing toward Mascot and likely going to sink south of us in Mascot, Claremont, Mineola tonight, this afternoon, over the next hour or so. You see the lightning way out ahead of that. So I would not be surprised if soon we have more severe thunderstorm warnings in play. Just want to check, see if there are any storm reports out there. All right, so the National Weather Service went ahead and added a new warning. This is going to go until 3 o'clock into the afternoon. This now includes us in St. Cloud, and that is going to continue. That's going to go again until 3 o'clock. So again, more of the Florida Turnpike going to be included in this. And you see over the last couple of minutes, this thing has really beefed up. It was starting to work its way north of Kissimmee. It looked a little less impressive. And we call these pulse storms. Again, there's not really a ton to make organized thunderstorm activity or an organized severe weather threat, but there is a ton of instability. If you've been outside, you felt the humidity. It's certainly been sunny across a lot of the Florida peninsula, and now we have the heating of the day sea breeze thunderstorms developing, and these should continue to increase in coverage. I am going to go check for some storm reports across the board. I'm going to keep this loop live. We're watching 2 severe warned storms out here. And again, we are going to keep the chat live. I'll be right here. I'm just doing some work to track these thunderstorms and getting some storm reports in. Again, post in the comments where you're tuning in from and what you may be seeing out there. Scattered thunderstorms, again, are getting really, really ugly, especially in Brevard and Southern Orange and northern Osceola County. I'm going to keep this radar looping with all the alerts. Again, if you see anything out there, post that in the comments. Also, if you have any photos, when you can do so safely, clickorlando.com/pins or download the free News 6 Weather app. That's the better way to do it. It's easier to upload them from your phone that way. And you can obviously get the alerts from the National Weather Service and from us here at News 6. I'll be right off camera here. I'll catch you guys in a couple of minutes. What's going on, guys? Meteorologist Jonathan Kegis back with you. We are tracking some nasty thunderstorms rolling through parts of Central Florida. We have a live camera. This is going to be on I-95 right below me in the Brady Bunch boxes. We have Daytona Beach. Nice and sunny in Daytona right now, but you see off in the distance that big cloud mass there. We're looking right down the Atlantic Highway and pretty much at that storm that is rocking Brevard County right now. And so we're seeing the storm from a distance in Daytona. Right below me, again, that is going to be I-95 in Brevard County, where we have the super heavy rain coming down. And then the other box, the smaller one there in between I-95 on the left and the looping radar on the right, is going to be Harmony, Florida. In Osceola County, we have some nasty weather coming in. You see the darker clouds in the background, some of those low-hanging clouds as well, as they are working their way from north to south tonight. Watching some extra development back to Orange County. There's nothing too terribly concerning right now with these storms around the airport or downtown Orlando. Certainly some lightning with them, so you want to take that seriously. But the potentially damaging stuff is closer to St. Cloud. It's pretty much rolling right into St. Cloud right now. So if I happen to have anybody tuning in from around Orlando, St. Cloud, Kissimmee, Rockledge, Sharp, Satellite Beach, let me know what you're seeing. Cocoa Beach as well, taking it on the chin with the very heavy rainfall across the board. There is the strong winds. The green represents wind going toward the radar, estimating at about 40-ish miles per hour, likely going to be stronger than that as it slides right on down the coast. Let me put a loop on this, and then we'll get into some street level stuff. There's over the last 15 minutes, and again, you see that new warning that came on, was updating in the chat as we were talking. That's going to include now Satellite Beach. Let me stop that, and we'll get the latest information on that. So this is going to run for at least the next 25 minutes, and tons of lightning, gusty winds are going to be the primary concern with that cell that gets going tonight. No storm reports have come in yet. There was a wind gust in Oak Hill from a little earlier that reported a gust of 49 miles an hour. That was as the cell was kind of getting going about an hour ago. And now it's, again, pushing right on through Brevard County. So a lot happening across Central Florida. We talked about this yesterday, that we would see kind of the atypical Florida afternoon where we would start these things around lunch, give or take, and then really have some rocking storms early. And I think that's still going to be a theme going forward for the next couple of hours, that we will watch these storms increase in coverage, especially closer to the I-4 corridor. Couple of things of note: we have much more lightning develop over the past few minutes. That means that storm is even trying to get stronger. Let me do some, there's where all the wind is. So I'll stop bouncing around here. New Eden and Runnymede. Here's Lake Toho for reference. There is downtown St. Cloud, Pine Grove. So the strongest winds are on Narcoossee Road right now, Absher Road in Osceola County. Wind gusts of anywhere from, you see, pushing 50 miles an hour in spots. And I would not be surprised if it's getting stronger. Again, that's why there's a warning on there. The warning is for 60-mile-per-hour winds. On a day like today, we're watching these things kind of pulse up, pulse down. It's whenever they start to pulse down, that's when you get these isolated, damaging wind gusts through the board. So that's one of the things that we're watching closely, is as these storms kind of fall apart. There's not a lot to hold them together, but the atmosphere is kind of primed for these kind of short-fused, potentially damaging thunderstorms that we're seeing out there right now. Let's get you back to the storm in Brevard County. Now outside of the warning in Viera, we had some really nasty stuff coming through. And if I have anybody tuning in from St. Cloud or Harmony or Deer Park, Satellite Beach, Melbourne, let me know what you're seeing. We're dry in Melbourne now, but that storm is kind of working right down the Brevard coastline. There's Rockledge, Cocoa Beach, super heavy rain. Let's take a look at the rainfall. Good thing is there was a flash flood threat. That is now kind of come and gone. But look at the rain. Let me turn the lightning off. So intense rainfall rates with this storm. If that means if this would stay over you for an hour, which it shouldn't, you're you're going to pick up 7 inches of rain in an hour. So this storm, again, has a ton of rain with it, a ton of lightning with it, as per typical from a Central Florida thunderstorm. But also, again, the potential for some damaging wind gusts. That's why there is that warning. If you have the News 6 weather app or on your phone, you got the buzzes, you got the beeps out there. So that is what we're tracking as that storm pretty much moves right down I-95. Again, that's where we have a live look. It actually does look a little bit better in that camera, believe it or not. And that is I-95 mile marker 192. And that's going to be kind of right in through here. I can get back to the traffic page. Because what we like to do here, it's really nice that we have all of this overlaid and we can see, and this is going to be I think this is just down the road of the one that we're looking at. I don't know what that is. There's I-95 mile marker 192.1. So this should mimic what we're seeing in that box below me. That's the heavy rainfall right there. And that's kind of upstream. So even some heavier stuff coming to what the camera shows there certainly looks a little bit better in that shot just up the road. So again, that's kind of the Rockledge exit on I-95 where we have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect. Terry Reed, if you're still with us, Palm Harbor is looking pretty good. Should be on the drier side for the rest of tonight. What's going on, Elizabeth? Hey, Zachary, how you doing? James is requesting the rain be sent to Lakeland. I wish I could. You might end up getting some tonight. I'll try to load up the model. Kind of just jumped on here. Let's see where. What's going on, Brandon Woods? He says storms were nasty in Jacksonville. What about Port St. Lucie? Everything's good in Port St. Lucie right now. Let me show you the rest of the afternoon. Today is Wednesday, right? Wednesday the 24th. Let's take this out into the future, and you see this is kind of what we have going on here. So this model is certainly aggressive over the next couple of hours. What time is it now? We're just pushing the 3 o'clock hour. The thing of it is, though, when you're looking at models, like obviously the radar is a lot more lit up than what the forecast model shows. So therefore, we're zapping a lot of the energy. So I'm not sure that it gets that wild at 6 o'clock. I think it's probably an hour or two ahead of schedule. And then things gradually fizzle out. And again, it's going to be a nice sea breeze collision tonight. And we might have thunderstorms linger a little while longer into the evening. I think things are looking, relatively speaking, a little bit better. This warning in Osceola County is going to expire in a couple of minutes. Okay, so yeah, that just the Weather Service is going to allow this warning to expire uh, on schedule at 3 o'clock. They should be adding another box here. That's that special weather statement somewhere in there, as the storm still remains strong, but it's moving from west to east, and it could still again pulse up. There's that box that we just talked about there. That's that special weather statement. So again, still a strong thunderstorm closing in on us in the next. There's Holopah, Harmony. That's where we have a live look tonight. So we're gonna watch things get a little dicey. Let me put this on. Let me put a tracker on. So this is right over Runnymede, Ashton in about 2 minutes, Harmony in about 15 to 20 minutes, and then Holopah coming up in about 30-ish minutes as it stands on its current trajectory and speed, kind of riding down at least part of it onto the Florida Turnpike. And there goes the expiration of that severe thunderstorm warning officially as we have reached 3 o'clock. There's also this one until Brevard. I don't know. It doesn't look as intense as it was. The rain is still coming down in buckets. The rain is still crazy, but still, the damaging wind threat looks to me anyway like that is dropping off a little bit. If anybody's tuning in from Satellite Beach, South Patrick Shores, Cocoa Beach, Rockledge, Sharps, Grand Falcaria, would love to know where you're watching from, if you're watching one of those, and what you're seeing out there. If you have seen any hail or any gusty winds or potentially damaging wind out there, that would be helpful. Certainly, if you have any pictures, would love to see them. Clickorlando.com/pins, or on the free News 6 weather app. You can track the storms right alongside me and then also upload your pictures there. And then I can show them on the news and I can show them on the stream super easy into the system. So that's the best way to get your pictures and video to me so that I can show to everybody else what you guys are seeing out there. And I've not seen anything. I've not seen anything come in yet. Last night we had some crazy, crazy stuff of the Daytona Beach Sky Cam. It's actually happening again. It's not as defined as what it was last night, but you can see the thunderstorm cloud in the distance. If you look, that's pointed south toward this big storm in Brevard County, and far away. Obviously, I mean it's a pretty good clip, but we are seeing those storms push through. So it will be interesting to see what happens for the rest of the evening. The high resolution future radar would argue, let me make sure that's the latest one. That's probably the one from this morning, and it is. Let me go to the latest because see if it's picking on the early start time. So this one's doing a little better. That's kind of untapped up there. Parts of Lake County, Sumter, Marion County, we haven't really had much, if anything, today. So our instability is still kind of high. What's going on in Satellite Beach? Thanks for joining the stream today. We got you covered again. We are still in that severe thunderstorm warning for the next 13 minutes in Satellite Beach. Some of the rain you mentioned has started, wind strong and gusty. That's some of that thunderstorm outflow. So you've yet to see the heaviest of it coming through as the heavy rain anyway associated with it. The heaviest rain is just off to your north and west. That should be there in the next few minutes. Let me put a loop on this. Looks like do have a report of a funnel cloud that was reported as well. We were talking about that about 30 minutes ago. If you were with us on the stream, that anytime the East Coast sea breeze kind of gets pinned there a little bit, which it is right now, it adds kind of wind out of the south and east at the surface. And then if you get any kind of westerly wind, which we also have, that does induce a little bit of wind shear. So it's certainly not a tornado day, but right along the coast and with all these colliding boundaries, we can certainly do that. So let's get back in here and inspect. We showed you some of that earlier. Everything looks like it's going in one direction now, the wind. When we're looking at the reds and greens, the green is the wind coming toward the radar. The red are the particles and the wind going away from the radar. So everything looks right now anyway to be in one direction. Earlier we had a hook, but it's hard to see at this level. We can go check in the radar at the Orlando International Airport. Not going to do us much good, but we can kind of see a little bit anyway. Again, it's so far away and there's a lot of junk in between. But this also kind of helps us to pick out like that blue thing. That is a nasty outflow boundary. Would not be surprised if we have storms start to fire all down here. And then maybe that's the East Coast sea breeze trying to get going. And then all of this stuff is right along the West Coast sea breeze. So as that goes in, eventually the East Coast sea breeze also comes in. And that's why you saw some of the higher resolution modeling suggest that we're going to have a rockin' second half of the afternoon and then into the early evening as well. If you're just tuning in, we are watching a couple of really nasty thunderstorms, and right on cue here, we have seen the severe thunderstorm warning in Brevard County be allowed to expire. So some good news, and you see it's a shell of itself. That did one really rapid collapse, and that's what we're concerned with those damaging wind gusts, because you get that rapid collapse of the thunderstorm, and then it all just kind of rushes to the surface. So the good news is now, anyway, that we have no active warnings in play. Radar scanning the skies, still a lot of lightning in and around Melbourne. We did have the report of that funnel cloud right there. Spotter reported brief possible funnel cloud in rotation in clouds near Pontiac Circle in Melbourne, then it dissipated. So, all right, possible funnel cloud. But that threat has since come and gone with that thunderstorm over Brevard. Let me see. Question about the forecast for the DeLand area. Going to be watching for you, I think, a little bit later. We're going to have the chance for a couple of stronger thunderstorms. There's the East Coast sea breeze lighting up. And we have some storms down here that are trying to push up in your direction. So I think your storm chance goes up a little bit over the next couple of hours to about 6 to 7 o'clock. And then that chance will go back down a little bit after we get beyond about 7 to 8 o'clock. So I think there's still a shot for you to get in on some nasty thunderstorms later this evening, especially with West Coast sea breeze there, East Coast sea breeze there, and then we're going to kind of be right into the collision zone. We'll see what will we get into land. But that's the forecast for the DeLand area. I think over the next couple of hours, all that stuff. Elizabeth, I will do my best to get to the drought numbers tonight. Can't make any promises with the thunderstorms that are out there. But yeah, those drought monitor those. Yeah, we can try to take a look at the drought numbers during the show tonight. But can't look at them now because we're looking at the we're tracking some stronger thunderstorms. Sorry, I went into panic mode there. Yeah, no, just that's our kind of our blanket thumbnail to just quickly get it up there so we can get on live. We're tracking some nasty thunderstorms through Central Florida. We had some really nasty stuff in Orange, Osceola, and Brevard over the last what? We came on here at about 2:00. Yeah, a little after 2. And have been watching those thunderstorms. Now they're kind of dissipating a little bit. But notice here's some bells and whistles in the newsroom. That's probably the cancellation. All right, so it looks like we're going to get a brand new severe thunderstorm warning. There it is, pretty much encompassing a lot of central Osceola County. This is now going to roll until 3:45 in the afternoon. There's the storm in Spring Hill that you're talking about. And that's also kind of moving away from you. The East Coast sea breeze or West Coast sea breeze is right there. So all that stuff's going to fire very, very close. If you're on the east side of Spring Hill, you might actually get something. But all those storms are going to be working away from you as the winds are out of the west. If you are just joining us, we have a brand new severe thunderstorm warning. This is going to be for Osceola County. This is going to include Harmony and Holopaw right on the outer fringes. The strongest of this is right where you see that deep, dark purple. There's the Florida Turnpike. And there's the Florida Turnpike in yellow. For reference, Kenansville is hanging out down here. And I think Kenansville, we are just outside of that warning. But this one has been the one that has kind of perked up, perked back down, perked up, perked back down. So you've kind of have two wind maxima, and one of those is right over Harmony. So we have a live cam in Harmony right now. Let me see what side of Harmony that camera is on. Let me check the coordinates real quick. Let's see. The Holopaw camera is kind of dirty. But the Harmony camera is pretty much right here. So at least from this vantage point, it doesn't look too crazy. All that, I think the strongest winds are past the camera. Later on, if the weather gets rough, I will record anything out there if anything of the ordinary happens. Where would I send the footage? Elizabeth hit the nail on the head. If you have the free News 6 weather app, that's the best tool to kind of be storm spotters for us, honestly. Yes, it's our app. I'm biased. I love it a lot. It's great with lightning detection. You get the warnings from the National Weather Service. You get updates from us. But seriously, it's a free download. Just search WKMG in your app store if you're interested. But that is the best way to get pictures because you can upload them right from your phone to the platform, and then it pops up on a map so that I can show that where the picture came in from and what you're seeing out there, whether that is picture or video. So the free News 6 weather app is the best way to do that. And also you get to stay up to date with the storms as well. Another question, more storms this evening. Got a ton of rain in Suntree a little while ago and super high winds. If you saw some storms already. I think that shot for you is pretty low back at this point. There will still be um some thunderstorms around, but I think from this point on, they should be to your west. Like, I think that was our shot, and now everything should be kind of leaving the coast and then wanting to push further inland. You might have some thunder around, or you might hear some thunder because you kind of have a dueling thunderstorm just off to your west, taking a trip down the Florida Turnpike tonight. But I don't think you're going to be directly impacted. I mean, you might get clipped by it as it kind of expands that way. That outflow boundary is doing a number and letting it expand again further than the north and east. But if a lot of your instability has been zapped now by that strong thunderstorm that you just went through. We're watching also, no warning with this one. Let's go out to the Tampa radar. Just getting into Sumter County, so Nobleton, some heavy rain. Pineola, Bushnell, St. Catherine, Webster. This is an early heads up. Same for us in Coleman. Nothing strong or severe right now. That could change, though. Again, we have a lot of instability in the atmosphere, and now we're watching the forcing mechanism, that west coast sea breeze that we were talking about, helping to fire off some thunderstorms tonight or this afternoon. I keep on saying tonight, but it's this afternoon, obviously. I know I think you're probably the 10th person to say, where's the rain on the West Coast, on the Gulf Coast of Florida. It's crazy. And honestly, for the next little bit of time, next at least several days, that the pattern's not going to change. And what's happening is that we have these strong winds aloft out of the about 15, 20,000 feet above our head. We get the West Coast sea breeze to fire up with the heating of the day right there. Kind of like what you see. We have storms developing closer to the I-75 corridor. We have another one down there. And then everything pushes in this direction. And the West Coast sea breeze remains dominant, forcing most of the heaviest rain anyway onto the eastern half, onto the Atlantic half of the Florida Peninsula. So that is the reason why you guys in Bradenton or in Cedar Key or in Spring Hill just have not seen the rainfall that you would expect for a mid to late June weather pattern. So that's kind of the deal. That's kind of the deal on why it's doing that. So, I mean, it's a good observation for sure. We need it, though. We need it bad again, getting way back into the deficit. Awesome, man. Love to hear that. Installing the new 6 Pinpoint weather app. It's a free download for anybody that would like to get weather alerts. And there's also a pretty cool radar. And, of course, you get updates from us as well. And all the forecast data is tied right to your location. So it's a pretty cool app. And again, my favorite part about it is we get to have, look at the sky cam, the traffic camera down there. That's I-95 past the storm. So still some gusty winds out there. Let me see if I can change up some cameras. And it looks like they've re-tagged that. And then this is the theme of the day. They see the lightning perking back up again on the southern half of Brevard County. And again, we're gonna watch this closely. Again, I never like when there's a little hook. It's not a tornado day. I wanna be clear about that. I don't want to scare anybody. But like when the East Coast sea breeze is pinned, and right now it acts as a little bit of, there's a little focal point for increased rotation. So again, just going to keep a close eye on this one as it works its way south in Palm Bay. This is 3 straight days we've been on here with you guys in Brevard County, tracking these stronger thunderstorms in and around Palm Bay. So we've gotten the rain. I wish we can kind of split it and send it to our friends on the Gulf Coast of Florida. but the weather doesn't work like that. Well, we need it bad for sure. Hey man, I'll take it. I'll take it for sure. Okay, really bad in West Boynton Beach. There you go. There's that storm over West Boynton Beach. A lot of heavy rain, a lot of gusty winds. It is, if you search, I'm going to put it in the chat. It is just search WKMG in your app store, whether it's Google Play or the Apple Store. You'll see our chief meteorologist Candace Campos. Her picture will pop up. She's in her red outfit. So that's where you know you're in the right place. There's also a lot of cool tropical tracking stuff on there too. If you're interested in that, if you like to nerd out on the tropics. Yep, that one. Then if you search WKMG to bring up new 6 pinpoint weather, that one's ours. CW Ham, what's going on, man? What's the outlook for College Park? Should see some thunderstorms a little bit later. We're seeing some around the College Park area. Most of these now are kind of drifting up towards Apopka, Ocoee. These are sub-severe right now. And then Maitland, Eatonville, Fairview Shores, Winter Park. Again, we got storms close to College Park tonight, and we should watch things clear out. Okay, I was just going to ask where you were getting the alerts. So Broward County. And there it is right there. Nasty storm. That is a new severe thunderstorm warning this is going to be in South Florida. Where the heck did the warning go? Interlochen may see thunderstorms a little bit later on tonight. And there's the storm from it's heading into, someone said Coral Springs. Susanna says Coral Springs looks nasty. And there is that storm just to the west. The super dark clouds just to the west of you, if that's where you're at. And it's just kind of meandering there. The darker purples representing the heavy rain. There's no alert with that one. No, I wouldn't pack up and leave. I'd park it right there. It's a nasty thunderstorm, but right now there are no warnings on it. There's some warnings back closer to the Everglades. That's a real nasty thunderstorm. Am I expecting this to hit north of Popka? It's going to be close. So here's the thunderstorm now. Let me put the loop on this for you. It's going to be really close. So there's the rain kind of forming, and you see that's a little on the outflow boundary. So we're going to be watching this fill in real fat. Whoops, sorry. This area in North Orange County. So over the next, somebody mentioned about the land. I don't know if our friend from the land is still here, but this is what we're watching this fill in probably about 2 hours ahead of that high resolution model that I showed you. It's right on par with the forecast, though, from yesterday. So this is why, like, models are guidance, not gospel. Right on schedule with the timeline. So what I showed you before, I think is running about 2 hours behind schedule. So we are going to be watching, I think this is the increase of those. That's going to be the increase of the thunderstorms through the I-4 corridor. So really going to watch that over the next little bit of time tonight. Over the next hour or so, there's extra development around Lakeland, Bartow, Haines City. SH4, good, awesome. Thanks, appreciate that. Thank you guys for all of the reports and the commentary tonight. It keeps me company for one. And it really helps to get the ground truth of what's going out there when we're doing the radar tracking and we're stuck inside our cool streaming room. Let's get back down to Palm Bay, where we have some very heavy rainfall. Severe thunderstorm warning, or no, excuse me, this is a special weather statement. The severe thunderstorm warning is hanging out still in Osceola County for the next little bit of time. Looks like some of the strongest winds are even kind of pushing outside of the warning area in the green. And it's kind of like erratic motion today with these outflow boundaries. You get the storm over here, and then like the appendage kind of grows off of that storm as it moves further down. And if you're just joining us this afternoon, we're coming up on 3:30. We've had probably about, well, the first warning was issued shortly after 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And we've been streaming with you ever since, tracking some stronger thunderstorms in Orange, Osceola County, into Brevard County, also into Broward at times, in South Florida. Things are much better than they were. We're still watching one really nasty thunderstorm here. It's in Osceola County. Just making sure that there's no rotation with it. This green mark you see here, or this green line, that is the rain-cooled air from these thunderstorms pushing up and out. And this oftentimes leads to more thunderstorm development. It's a really cool process. The environment, as you well know, if you've been outside today, is very humid. It's very hot. So there's a lot of instability out there that we have been generating throughout the course of the morning and into the early afternoon. So now we get these rock and thunderstorms as a result of that. The storms to the west of Apopka, we were watching north of Apopka earlier. These are kind of meandering just to the east. Just to the east. I would expect north of Apopka to at least get some rain there. And there's the latest radar return. So we get radar data every few minutes coming in. Refreshed data. So now, yeah, you're gonna get something. Whether you get some thunder, you should get that, but we have a quickly developing downpour on the west side of the 429 there. So Zellwood, Donald, and then there's Apopka. And I think the north side of Apopka, we're going to get that. I'm going to try to pull up a sky cam in Apopka to get some ground. Oh, yeah, wait till you see this. Okay. And if you guys are just joining us, post in the comments where you're tuning in from. If you can hear me, I'm not talking right into the mic. Gotta find where it went. Thanks, Kevin, for that report about the thunder in Lakeland. And that is Apopka. I'll put up my wrong. That one. That's Apopka. Just over the 429. So that camera is about right there. So we're seeing the darker clouds moving in from the other side of the 429. So I got to change my banner that says Harmony. That has now been changed to Apopka. My name is Jonathan. Yep. Cloudy and DeLand, thank you for that report. As we're watching all this stuff, kind of develop, I'm anxious to see what the next radar scan shows, to see if we see an uptick in this stuff and in this stuff, because that would mean that our kind of main event is just about to get underway. I do think we have more storms coming, especially into the I-4 corridor area. So I think right here, that is where we're going to be watching those storms really begin to develop. I think that's going to be kind of the main event over the next couple of hours. Absolutely. Got a request. We've been watching this guy kind of work its way out of Spring Hill for the last couple of last 30 minutes. Zeus 4C says we do have dark clouds descending on us in North Apopka. Let me know if you hear any thunder just yet. And then this one has beefed up pretty quick. So I think that we're going to end up getting at least a special weather statement on it. And it might end up turning severe. Again, this is what is going to help to... I just got an alert, lightning coming, lightning detected within 10 miles of Apopka. So what we thought, it's kind of coming at us. If you're in Apopka, I think we have a couple of people tuning in from the Apopka area tonight, this afternoon. There are the thunderstorm. There's the lightning. There's another lightning strike. So again, that's a sign to us that we're watching these things get a little bigger. So coming at us from both sides, I'll put the loop on. You can kind of see that there. Kind of sliding up from the south, that direction, and then also in that direction. You're going to kind of converge here. So it could get pretty ugly in Apopka, at least from the city part and then south. And then here's this cell that was using the Tampa radar. I'm going to go back to Apopka in a second, but had a request for the blob in Bushnell. And there's the big blob. A lot of lightning. I'll turn the lightning tracker back on. So just with that cell over the last 10 minutes, you see the lightning count going up to now 36. So that's a nice big kind of flare up of those thunderstorms, that one big cell that has entered western Sumter County, the Nobleton area, Inverness, eventually as we get into Bushnell, Lake Panasoffkee, a little further to the north. And then early heads up for Center Hill and in Coleman. And I'm going to keep on watching this guy through the afternoon as well. I think that's a good idea to pause some motorcycle door dashing in Claremont. You're kind of in between storms, but the lightning got close. And if the West Coast sea breeze is in fact trying to light up, which this should be here, we're going to see some extra development through Sumter and Lake County over the next couple of hours. We at least have the chance for thunderstorms through about 7 to 8 o'clock tonight. Most of these storms, question is, any chance these storms build back towards southwest Florida coast tonight? Very small. Most of these, if they don't get going right up along the coast, these are going to push to the east and push away from the Gulf Coast. So if they don't get going like right over you, they're going to be pushing further inland away from the Gulf Coast, where obviously we really need some rain. All right, it looks like our severe thunderstorm warning for Osceola County has been allowed to expire. So that is some great news there. Below severe levels, still holding on to that special weather statement, meaning it's still a rowdy thunderstorm, but it's not damaging or potentially damaging. Watching this one closely in Sumter County, and then back on into northern Orange and western Orange County. There's kind of the lightning in between, waiting for the latest radar scan there, and you see it kind of pulsing up. Right now, Apopka right into the middle of everything. Wekiva Springs State Park getting in on the heavier rain and some thunder. Winter Springs, Castleberry, some light to moderate rain. Same with some heavier rain in Winter Park. No lightning with that one. But we're going to watch this closely. Alrighty, guys. Since the warnings have been allowed to expire, I have to go work on my show for the newscast tonight. Couple of things. I'm going to keep the stream up going for a little bit. So if you have any questions, I'm going to glance over and I'll be active in the chat room. Meteorologist Jordan Patrick is on News 6 at 3 right now. WKMG if you're in the greater Central Florida area. And if you're not, we're also talking about the weather on News 6 Plus. You can get that anywhere in the state, but it's going to be more of a Central Florida focused weather impact stuff. And then I'll be on at 5 o'clock on News 6 at 5 with the latest. I'll be tracking the thunderstorms over on the TV side of things. So if you are hanging around and want to know the latest on the weather, again, you can catch me over there, News 6 at 5, 5:30, and 6. And then, of course, I'll be here all evening if anything pops up, of course, going forward tonight. So I'm going to keep this stream live for a little bit of time. Post in the comments section if you need anything, if you have any questions. I'll do my best to keep active. I'm just going to build my shows for the rest of the evening so that I am prepared to give you the best weather forecast and storm tracking experience you can get in the entire state of Florida. So thank you guys for keeping me some company tonight as we keep on saying tonight. It's this afternoon. As we were tracking some of the stronger thunderstorms, thank you for the storm reports. Again, in the meantime, download the free News 6 weather app. Post in the comments where you're tuning in from, what you're seeing out there, and I will catch you guys later on tonight. And, of course, for News 6 Weather Live at 9:30, our nightly weather show that we talk about Florida weather all the time, Monday through Friday at 9:30. So if you're interested in that, hit that subscribe button, even if you're watching from South Florida. I do. That show is a Florida-focused show, Florida in tropics when it's the season. So if you're interested in that, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys at 9:30. If we pop another warning, I will break right back in here onto the live feed in a couple of minutes. Hopefully we don't have to do that, but we're watching these storms closely. Thanks, guys. I'll see you in a little bit.